Hey Fixer, I wanted to take a few minutes to go over how to set yourself up. You often hear us talk about organize your spine, get your 3-point stack, or even think about your cylinder. What does that all mean? So let's take a few moments here to talk about this whole concept of the lumbopelvic area. So think of your pelvis, and we want to think about it being the bottom of a cylinder. That's why we talk about cylinder, canister. We want it to be basically somewhat neutral. We tend to, a lot of us, kind of be in that tilted position. And then obviously if the tilted position happens, our ribs are stacked. So that's why you hear us talk a lot about the stacked position. So let's think of this being your point of centration. So if this is strong and stable, this will allow you to move better and have actually more power while you use your arm or legs. So this is our point of fixation. We want to make sure that it is nice and stable. So how do we do that? Thinking about the pelvis here. We're going to go on our back to start. We like to start here and own this position. So you want your pelvis to be in what we call in mid-range. We won't call it neutral, but mid-range. So I'm the place between arching and fully flattening my back, so I can rock back and forth and find what feels somewhat mid-range or neutral if you prefer. Then my ribs, I want them to be stacked. So I don't want them to stick out. Then I'm back in that scissor position. So mid-range, ribs stack, and we'll go over when we were in a tall kneeling position, so it helps. But now I'm nice and stacked here. So now I can bring my leg up and my arm up. So as I decide to do any movement, I'm not going to let this happen. So this is what I want to do, is resist motion as I move my legs or arm. We're maintaining our cylinder. So as I move my leg, I don't want the weight of the leg pulling me out of this nice, organized lumbopelvic position. So this is when we're on the floor. We can think of it even in the quadruped position. Finding that position again. Same here. Then we can go into tall kneeling or standing. Same thing here. You're going to want to think about your pelvic floor being parallel to the floor. The ribs are stacked, so now you can kind of see my hands are flat. That's why I call them stack versus being scissor. So we want to think about this, maintaining this nice organized position as we do any motion. So same if we had an overhead exercise. We don't want to let the ribs pop out. So think of that for all the exercise you're going over, maintaining a good, solid, strong lumbopelvic area. Think of it canister, cylinder if you hear us, and then just go on with doing your exercise with a good intention. So this is what, if you want to call it core, it really comes down to that. Is a good, basically, setup, and goes again too, if you want good breathing and good posture, those two needs to be happening. So you cannot have good breath pattern if you're out of alignment here. So make sure that this is intentional when you do your exercise, and then go on and try that. Try on the floor, and then kind of build up to more complex exercise. Hope this helps. So now you know when you hear us say cylinder, canister, stack your ribs, go on and do that.